Hello, this is Jack from Fluency.com, and this is a conversational lesson about pets and animals. And today we have our favourite guest,
Kate,
who is going to bring some American flair to this conversation. And yeah, we're just going to have a conversation about pets. We're going to talk about pets that we've had, common command for dogs. We're going to talk about going to the zoo, extinct animals. We'll think about talking about strange animals we've eaten before, but we might not go there. We'll see where this conversation goes and stay to the end because we'll have a question for you, Kate's question. Okay, and just one last thing. We're going to have this natural conversation, but I'll leave some of the key phrases in the description and also turn on subtitles if you want to follow along with the conversation. Let's just start with pets that we had growing up. We'll keep this segment a little bit short. We won't go into too much depth. But what animals, what pets did you have growing up in Connecticut, United States of America?
I had dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was born, my parents had a golden retriever. And then when I was a little bit older, we had a poodle. We had a cat who was a rescue cat. And she stayed a little bit feral, a little bit wild.
Spider.
Her name was Spider because she had a habit of eating spiders.
I didn't know that's why you called her Spider.
Yeah, we didn't. She had that reputation in the animal shelter. And so that became her name. And I also had parakeets and betta fish and horses.
and horses.
And horses.
Yeah.
I was very lucky.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids want a pony, but I had a pony in my backyard.
Yeah, we never had dogs, but I always wanted a dog as a kid, but my parents were more interested in cats. So we had a cat which died when I was around 4. So my parents had that before I was born. And then we had 2 cats called Tiger and Pepper. Mm-hmm. We had a bunny called Fluffy. And Fluffy. And I think that's it really growing up. I don't think we had any other pets growing up. But let's just talk about the horse briefly, because I imagine people are interested in that, because not a lot of people have a horse. Was there a lot of work involved with the horse?
Yes. So I did when the horse came to live at our house, I did all of the work for the horse. And when it was boarded other places, I would also go and help out. So that was hauling water, making sure that there were hay bales, which are big rectangles of hay up in the loft. And every morning you have to do barn chores. So I would put on my boots and go out to the barn and just muck out every day.
Muck out?
Uh-huh.
It's a phrasal verb.
It is a phrasal verb, and it's one that you might not have heard before.
No,
so
I can understand it from the context, probably, that it means like to clean it out. Mm-hmm. Because horses create a lot of waste.
They do.
Right.
So.
And brushing the horse?
Uh-huh. Grooming.
Grooming.
Usually I wouldn't groom my horse unless I was planning to ride. But before I rode, I had different brushes and a special tool called a hoof pick to scoop out the dirt.
Hoof pick.
A hoof pick.
Hoof.
Yeah, because horses have hooves, and then sometimes they get dirt caked in their feet, and you have to scoop it out.
Wow. So a lot of upkeep.
A lot of upkeep. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's a good thing to talk about, which pets need the most amount of maintenance. Mm-hmm. The fish Least amount.
Least amount.
Cats next.
Yes.
Dogs.
Uh-huh.
Then the horse.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would almost say that a cat might even be easier than a fish in some senses because you can go away for a few days and leave food for a cat, and a fish you have to feed them every day.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if they have like automatic fish food dispensers now.
You would think so.
If not, that's an idea for somebody to introduce. So yeah, pets that need the most attention. I think a horse is up there, right?
Yes.
Which means a horse is a great contender for a pet that needs the most kind of maintenance and attention. What other pets need attention more than a horse? Can you think of anything? I mean, some you probably need to pay attention to a little bit more. For example, we're going to talk about some exotic pets that people have, which might be venomous spiders, snakes.
Okay.
Like what's happened in Florida with some snakes.
Oh, this is a story that you clearly know more about. I haven't been following it.
So people had boa constrictor pets. And they got released into the wild.
Oh, no.
And they're massive. I think they're from somewhere in Asia. I can't remember which country they're really prevalent in. But people kept them as pets in Florida. They got too big. And it's go to the wild. And they've taken over the Everglades.
Is that dangerous to humans?
Not necessarily, but to other animals that are more native to Florida. They can take over territories, etc.
So they're invasive species.
Invasive, yes. Yeah. And that just reminds me, I think there's a stat that I think is really cool. Or maybe not cool, but interesting. That the country with the most amount of tigers in the world is the US.
Wow.
Think of Tiger King.
Yeah.
And people keep them as pets in certain states. So there's a map I saw as well of where it's legal or illegal to keep a kangaroo as a pet. Because in the US, things are really, a lot of laws are created state by state. So in some states, you can keep exotic animals like tigers. So people have tigers as pets. And there are instances like in Knoxville, where our friends live, where that tiger got loose. Do you remember that story?
I do.
And someone created a fake Twitter account talking about, I am the Knoxville Tiger. And it's just like the authorities said, we're leaving out chicken traps and stuff like that. And the tiger would respond saying, like, you can't fool me with that. But it ended up, I think, being a false alarm.
Oh, okay.
Because our friend who's a vet was part of that mission to try and find it. He was in a helicopter looking for the tiger and going off leads. But this is real. Like, these pets can escape. The thing with tigers, it doesn't seem like if they escape, they will breed and create more baby tigers. But the boa constrictors seem to do that in Florida. I
guess unless you have a significant number of tigers escape at the same time, which is unlikely.
Yeah. What's an animal like that you would consider having as a pet? If you had to have maybe like a tarantula or...
I was going to say, I'll take a koala.
Koala.
You're talking about kangaroos. That would be an exotic pet.
Yeah. Everyone loves a koala.
Yes.
They seem to be very chilled out, relaxed.
Yes.
Oh, there was some type of video where people at a zoo tricked a British reporter about the dangers of koalas and made her put on like a massive armor suit.
Oh, no.
Do you remember that?
No.
And they just tricked her about like how dangerous they are, and she put on this massive suit and just like tricked her. So she was reporting for a news channel for the UK wearing this.
Oh no, that's a good prank.
I'll leave a link to that in the description.
So was the tiger escape also a prank?
No, I think it was like someone saw, it might have been a coyote or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Coyote, tiger.
Well, I will tell this story. When we got our first dog together, Lyle, he was very small for a dog. And he was a puppy as well. So he was tiny. And I was with him for a few days and I hadn't really seen a cat in that time. And we went out. Do you remember?
I do.
And I said, what is that down there? It's huge and it's feline. And I was thinking it was either like a tiger, a baby tiger, or maybe a coyote. And it was just a house cat.
But it wasn't just a house cat. So it wasn't any special kind of cat. It was a house cat, but it was huge.
Right. So it was bigger than normal.
I think it was both bigger than normal and it had a very aggressive personality.
Oh, this was a different cat.
Oh, yeah. The orange stripy one?
The one that used to terrorize Lyle at your house.
Yes.
No, different one.
Okay.
We went for a walk one day.
We were just used to Lyle being so small that you were like, it's a tiger. But this one honestly was terrifying. So the neighbor's cat was this huge orange cat. And it would hide in the bushes near our house and wait for me to take little puppy Lyle outside. And then the moment that we got onto the porch, it would run out and go like,
yeah.
With its like, and it would be all like bristly and its tail would be huge. And Lyle was terrified and developed a lifelong fear and hatred of cats.
Which is natural for a dog.
Yes, but I think that this cat in particular really cemented it. Although, do you remember?
He defeated it.
He did. He got big enough that he could bark at it.
He chased it out, remember?
And he chased it out. And you could just tell it was the proudest moment of his life.
Yeah.
But that cat was a menace. I was afraid to walk off of our porch.
Really?
Yes. Did you see it?
Yeah, it was.
Did
a little
it ever
aggressive.
attack you? It was so aggressive and it was huge.
It
was really fat and mean.
Yeah.
It was the worst cat ever.
It was, which is the reason why I'm more of a dog person now. And we have 2 dogs. Lyle unfortunately died a couple of years ago, and now we have a new dog, which we won't talk about too much. She's
special.
Maybe we'll save that for a future episode. But there are certain commands that you can give dogs, and they listen. You can train them.
Why don't I give you the command and you model?
No. However,
it was worth a try.
What I find, just from an English teacher point of view, the commands are all in the command imperative. Yeah. So you'll say things like sit. And you don't say sit down, do you? You say sit. Right, yeah. So sit, lie down. Not lay down, but lie down.
Lie down.
And roll over. Speak. Shake. So they give you their paw and you shake hands. Is there anything else?
Leave it.
Leave it. Wait.
Wait. Yeah.
Wait. Wait. So those are the main commands that we can think of. Sit, lie down, roll over, speak, paw, wait, leave it.
And of course, dogs, especially certain dogs, have a capacity to learn a lot more. So some dogs are professionally trained and, become movie stars and learn all sorts of commands. But we have one of our dogs, Toby. He's a beagle mix. He's a hound. We adopted him 11 years ago.
10
years ago. And I wouldn't think would be very intelligent, but he is so food motivated that if you have a treat, he is a genius.
Yeah.
He's learned all of those commands and more. He's just so motivated to get that treat that he will do anything.
Mm-hmm.
If he can figure out what you want, and he usually can, he will do it.
But he does anything as well to get the food, just generally.
Yeah.
So we've done days when we've just about to go to a potluck party, and then we leave out, it was the pigs in blanket, right?
Mm-hmm.
That time we left it out on the counter, and he moved the chair.
He used to move our stools around the corner.
Wait quietly until we leave the room. As soon as we leave the room, move the chair, get on the chair, get on the top, and just eat as much as you can, as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah. The leave it for Toby isn't that strong.
No, if it's food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, dogs that are highly motivated by food are very trainable.
Mm-hmm. He's very trainable.
Yeah.
And he's eaten whole pizzas. He's eaten whole pies.
Mm-hmm.
I've made pies for the kids' birthdays. He's eaten an entire turkey.
I remember that pie.
A Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah.
And when he was little, he used to be able to jump from the floor onto the counter.
Mm.
And then he learned how to use the stool. But we used to come in, and he would just be up there on the counter, tail wagging.
He also does the whole drag the tablecloth
Drag
off.
the tablecloth off with his
The
mouth.
milk spills everywhere.
Cereal milk.
And then he'll get the milk. Yeah.
We love him.
Yeah, no, he's great. So let's talk about animals where we live.
Okay.
So growing up in the UK, the way I always talk about it is that we don't really have any animals that can kill you. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are instances of cows.
Or dogs.
Dogs, yeah. But that type of... The joke is always about Australia, isn't it? Where in Australia, there's so much that can... If the shark doesn't get you, then the kangaroo will punch you, and then the spider, and the snakes.
Jellyfish.
Jellyfish.
Do people often die from kangaroo punches?
I don't... Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But I've seen a few, again. I don't know where I'll get all these movies from, but it's just funny when you see a kangaroo, because they look like boxers. Mm-hmm. Have you seen them? When they stand up and they're like, all right, we're ready to go. And there's just like videos of the guy like hooking a kangaroo, and then they both look at each other and think, it's not worth it. Let's not fight.
Let's not fight. It's funny because they say that kangaroo are as common as deer.
Oh, really?
Where I grew up. I grew up in a place with a lot of white-tailed deer. Mm. So every morning, at least, we would see deer walk through our yard. Mm. It's a little bit dangerous to drive at dusk and dawn because there are deer running across the roads. And so I think kangaroos are that common, but kangaroos can also punch.
Yeah.
It's different.
And kick.
Yeah. Yeah, and deer just run away.
Yeah, they do a lot of damage to cars, and obviously they get.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They don't usually walk away from those types of incidents. No. And you see quite a lot on the road. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the UK. So going out of my house, I'd never think, there's going to be a coyote or a bear or. What else we have here? But
yeah, we have, so in terms of dangerous animals, we have coyotes, we have bears in our yard quite frequently. Bobcats, more rare.
But dangerous for animals.
They're
too,
more
for
elusive.
Pets.
Yeah, dangerous for pets. And then we have some venomous animals. Mm. We have black widow spiders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And rattlesnakes.
Copperheads.
Water moccasins.
Sound like shoes.
I know. They're not. They're venomous snakes.
I need to learn about the water snakes that are dangerous. But if I see a snake in the water, I just assume it's not good.
Better to be safe and assume that a snake is venomous and get out of the way and leave it be.
Yeah. But the bear is a big one where we live because we see them all the time. They're just always in our neighborhood, whether it's the male one, the young male one, a new mum with cubs.
Yeah. So
the
in
junior
in the spring, we almost always get a mama bear with at least a couple cubs that walks through the neighborhood.
They're so cute. They're tiny. Sometimes they're this big. Well, maybe a bit bigger. But we see them about this big and just, to try to play on swings and do that kind of thing. But they can be quite annoying in a way. For example, we can't put out our trash cans or rubbish bins the night before because the bears know that and they can smell them. Yeah. And they'll just topple over your trash can, take everything out, rip everything up, usually on the lawn, and then go through and maybe get a bit of chicken here, an apple here.
It's not good for the bears.
And it's not good for them, and they don't tidy it up after.
I know. And they also poop in our yard.
Yeah, and then they do a big poop in the yard after. But they usually do it. We left the garage door open when I was packing the car for a beach trip. It takes half an hour to clean it all up.
Such a mess.
Such a mess. But then...
And not good for the bears.
No. But they've started to do things like open doors to people's houses, get into garages. We'll come to the story in a sec. Go in garages. They take frozen Indian meals. They'll killed all our chickens, killed all the neighbors' chickens. And recently, I'll let you tell it, but...
So I had gotten a text message from a neighbor that there was a bear in our minivan.
Yeah, we had just left.
To
go to our friend's house in my car. And then we get a text message saying, there's a bear in your car. So we just got interrupted, but you were saying how we got a text and normally they destroy cars.
Because they get into a car and then they get trapped. The door closes and they can't get out and then they panic and they just...
How do I get out? Yeah. How do I get out?
And they're so big and powerful and they have claws and teeth and it's just not good.
No.
And so we went out. We came back later. I was so worried. And then I looked in the car and it was fine.
You got me to check the car.
I got you to check the car in case there was still a bear trapped in it. And it was fine. It was cleaner. Maybe a couple of things were not in the right place, but I couldn't remember.
No.
And so we went home and I thought for a while that it was a prank. That they just thought, we'll say that there was a bear in her car because it was so clean. It was normal. The doors were shut. Nothing was strange. And then a couple days later, a neighbor sent me a picture of the bear in my car. So right where I sit every day and drive my minivan around and, listen to the radio, drive my car, there was a 200-pound bear just right there on my seat.
Yeah.
Are they 200 pounds more?
Oh, more than that.
More than that?
That bear was more like 300 to 400, I think.
It was a big bear. It was a very big bear, and it was just there.
And sometimes you think, that bear's quite small. But the day we were leaving for our recent trip, we got a text message saying, the bear's in the neighborhood. Because we tell each other so we know not to let the dogs out or let children out. And these are black bears, which generally touch wood. Is this wood?
This is.
Yeah, this is. They're not as aggressive as the grizzly brown bears, like in Alaska or polar bears.
We both had a bear stand up to us, though, and growl, and it's terrifying. Yeah. But in both cases, it was a mama bear with cubs, and so we always talk about mama bear as being aggressive and protective, and that's been true. So when the mama bear comes through the neighborhood, she'll come with the cubs running behind her, and she'll make a noise like "Rah!" and the cubs will go up into a tree and wait, and then she'll call them back.
But she never wants to get in a conflict because then her cubs are at danger. Mm-hmm. So they seem more aggressive, but they don't act out as aggressive.
Oh, really?
Because someone was Eli, our friend who works at the nature center, he says that any bear attack, and I need to look this up, but this is what I was told by an expert. That it's always a single male.
Oh, yeah.
Who's hungry and wants a mama bear. Usually that's the case. Because think about it, they don't have as much to lose, but the mama bear, she gets injured, she can't look after her cubs.
Oh, yeah.
But they're more aggressive in the sense of...
They're more confrontational.
Yeah. Like, don't you mess with me.
Don't mess with me, but then they don't actually...
That's what I've heard.
Through. I mean, it's... So when I...
But at the same time...
know. When I went out in the middle of the night, because I heard our chicken squawking, and I suspected it was a bear. And it was... And I came down the stairs and the mama bear was over here and I looked around and I didn't see anything. And she kept rushing back at me and growling. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what I was doing, just full of adrenaline, yelling and probably like banging on something like a pot. And then I started, after a few minutes of her rushing back and making this noise, I heard way up in the tree these other little noises responding, and it was, I chased off the mama, but there were still baby bears up in a tree, and so they came down and ran away together. But it was, I'd come between a mama bear and her babies, and I had no idea. And
the mama bear puts the babies in the tree because it's a safe place for them while she kills the chickens. Yeah, and gets chickens for. I don't know if they eat them that much. Maybe they eat one and then.
Yeah,
it's coyotes do that. They'll just kill the flock of chickens and maybe eat one.
Yeah. Maybe, I mean, some animals, like, is it cache? The bodies for later.
Right.
If they are also kind of scavenger animals.
Right.
So that it's like a food supply for later.
And help out the vulture friends. And
there are lots of vultures around our neighborhood. We really do have, like, a whole Appalachian forest of wild animals in our neighborhood.
Yeah, and that I think it was the same, but that it stood up to me last week because I was saying there's a bear in the neighborhood. I got a text, so I went to close my car doors. 10 minutes later, but I didn't check before I went, and they're so quiet.
They're so quiet.
It's unbelievable. They're just like very stealthy, and even when they're running, you can't hear them unless they're near a bush. And then, I went and I turned around and it was 10 feet away and it just stood up. And then it got back down and it ran off with the babies. I said, I'll come back here, bear. Kind of chased after it. I didn't. No, I just froze a little bit and it ran off.
We have a healthy respect for bears.
Although there was someone feeding them in our neighborhood.
Another story.
Yeah. So let's just do a quick fire question. Favorite animal?
What's
your favorite animal?
What's my favorite
animal?
animal?
What's your favorite animal?
Oh, gosh.
Quick.
Can I say the top 3?
Yeah.
I think I like turtles, goats, and horses.
Yeah.
What's your favorite animal?
It's a goat, isn't it?
What's your favorite animal?
Probably a llama.
Oh.
Now?
Plot
Because I wrote
twist.
llama. Llamas in Ecuador. They were fun, weren't they? We bonded over a llama. We were both a little bit scared of it in case it was going to spit. Do you remember?
I vaguely remember, but I do like llamas.
Llamas are cool. Yeah. A lot in Peru as well. Favorite animal when you go to the zoo?
Elephants.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing them in zoos, but they're one of those animals that you get close to them and they just have such presence and they're so impressive. They're huge and like you can tell that they're intelligent and social and really, special. They have personality.
Yeah, we don't have a zoo in Asheville. We have a nature centre which it takes injured animals generally or animals that people have kept and they don't want anymore. And then they look after them at the nature centre. It's a fun place to go, isn't it? Kate's question.
Okay. My question from today's conversation is, what pets do you have? And what wild animals are in your neighborhood?
Yeah. What pets do you have and what wild animals are in your neighborhood? Yeah, and maybe we'll save the Ice Age extinct animals for a further time.
I love megafauna, and we will
both do.
Another time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love that era. So, favorite pets, animals in your neighborhood. We also had a question before, I think. I can't remember what it was now, but you might have answered that already. Leave a comment below with your answer, and also share this video or podcast episode if you're listening with a friend. Send it by WhatsApp, Messenger, anywhere really. So just share it with a friend. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.